Welcome back. Here we go with our Beyond the Wall podcast. I am Pastor Joel, and this is
Kayla.
And today we want to talk about a very interesting topic. It's called, or we're titling it, How Your Upbringing Impacts Your Relationship with God. So who else to start with better than my own daughter to be able to share some of her own upbringing facts and feelings and to be able to relate it to her current situation with God. Kayla, take it away.
Yeah, I first wanted to introduce the idea of attachment theory. So for those of you who don't know, I'm studying to be a marriage and family therapist. And in that, we learn about attachment theory, and basically that's when you have a relationship with your parent, whatever attachment style you form with your parent, you apply to other relationships, whether it be romantic, friendships, or like relationship with authority figures in your life. And so I thought, how does this apply with our parents and then with God? So how does our attachment to our parents or our experiences in our upbringing relate to our relationship with God? And I do a lot of reflecting. And the other day I was reflecting on my relationship with my parents and how I realized that growing up and even up until now, I don't ask my parents for a lot of things because I don't want to feel like a burden. I don't want to feel like I'm just another cause of stress and another thing on their to-do list, right? So I realized that I've been doing that with my relationship with God, in that I will withhold prayers from God because I think, I don't want to be a burden. God already knows the desires of my heart. I don't have to ask him again. I don't want to continuously ask him for things if he already knows, because I don't want to annoy him in a way. But I realize that that's bad. I realize that the Bible in Philippians 4:6, it talks about how we have to go to God in prayer and petition and in every situation. And he will provide whatever it is that we're asking for. He tells us to come to him and to ask him for things. So that's one of the ways I see my relationship with you and Mom reflect in my relationship with God.
Yeah, it's very key and very important. As a parent, you hear these things and a lot of times you don't even realize the effect that you're having on your children and the effect that you have on their walk. As parents, we always want to take the good, but I think this podcast is good to enlighten the parents as well, to maybe modify the way we approach things, modify the feeling we give off to our kids. We live in this world that's such hustle, it's all about hustle and bustle. And sometimes we take for granted the little things until that moment comes where everything comes to a complete stop, whether it be through sickness, whether it be through an issue, whether it be through a job difference, whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with you. I can relate to what you're sharing with regards to that relationship with my father and my God per se, because when it came to my father, he was MIA. So because he was MIA, it was always hard to feel that covering that as a child you yearn for, that security that a father gives off. And if truth be told, before God, and he knows my heart, and I'm not afraid to be transparent with you guys, but there's a lot of times where my faith falters because I feel like, man, it not necessarily is God going to fail me, but is he going to be there? Because I'm so used to not having that father to give me that security blanket. So I definitely could understand how that comes into effect in your life. It definitely comes into effect in my life. And I agree with you. I think it affects every relationship. As a man, all of a sudden now I am doing double time work to make sure that I'm able to supply your mother with all the feelings of a husband, and then the kids with all the feelings of a father and the security and the finances and everything else. But there comes a point in time where I think God allows certain things to happen in our life so that we can learn that our dependence has to be on him. 100%. And that's when everything changes.
Yeah, I agree completely. And just reflecting on what you said about how the absence of your father created that insecurity, it's amazing how our relationship with our parents could impact how we hold ourselves and how we behave in our future. So that impact of not having a father present for you left a lasting impact on your life and who you became as a person. So it plays a huge role in our relationship with God. If you didn't have that security in a father, it's hard to think, how can this father that I see right here in front of me not be here for me? How can I expect somebody who I can't even see to be here for me as well?
And look, I mean, let's not just take it to a physical realm here, per se, but let's look at the Bible for a moment. And let's take an example of Jesse and David, right? So anybody who knows the story of David knows that David was in a relationship with Saul, in which Saul, not once, but multiple times, literally tried to kill David. At no point did David push away from Saul. At no point did David, sever ties with Saul. So much so that I tend to believe that because of Jesse's rejection towards David, and you guys know the story, when Samuel came and he tried to anoint the king, and Jesse, being David's father, didn't even call David to the party. He called his other sons. Maybe that rejection that David felt, though David was this man after God's own heart, as we know, maybe that played a lot into the fact that he allowed Saul to manipulate, to hurt, and to literally try to kill him.
That's a really good point. Like his desire to have that affection, that almost fatherly figure with Saul, led him to take all of this in, take all of this maltreatment, because he just wanted that affection. He wanted that father figure.
Absolutely. Wow. And think about it, right? So here we come with God, and then if our expectations from our parents were low, or our fathers were low, or our mothers were low, then what's our expectation from God?
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I never thought of it like that either, because if you don't develop a pattern of expecting something from your parents or thinking that they'll do good for you, how can you translate that to your relationship with God? You'll just expect him to not meet those expectations.
That is,
so you don't expect anything from him.
100%. And even as we talk now, I come to a realization of things that are in my own life. I mean, look, these podcasts are, yes, you and I talking, but truthfully, it's something for all of you guys and girls to tap into and to bring awareness to things that you might be dealing with in life, because we're dealing with it. We're here trying to put this out there so that people can relate to someone else that is human just like them, that is a Christian, that is a believer, that is young or old, or whatever the case is. Just giving you an opportunity to know that you're not on your own. And I mean, today, the only thing that I could say before you close up is really, I yearn for my relationship with God to evolve past my relationship with my father. I yearn that I be able to trust, rely, and confide in God more than I have been in anyone else. Because I need that. As a human being, there's a part of my body that needs, or part of my heart that needs to be able to rest and relax and know that someone else is in charge. And I feel like I'm in that season right now where I am in dire need of that higher being, that father, that Abba, that I can go to and say, God, I'm here. I need you. Only you can provide, only you can supply, only you can lift up, and only you can guide.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like how you were saying our relationship has to evolve. So figuring out all these things and how our relationship with our parents or how our upbringing impacted our relationship with God, that's the first step. Acknowledging what the correlation is. The next step is actually evolving in that, learning from what it is that we're doing and learning how to fix it. So another point that I had was my relationship with you guys and my upbringing is, in my upbringing, I was very privileged, since you worked so much, to have all the things that I had. I was very privileged to have everything I wanted and everything I needed. So I translated that to my relationship with God in a sense of entitlement. And I realized that a couple of years ago in that I was looking to God and saying, I deserve this. Like, I am entitled to these blessings, but really, in reality, salvation was enough. And everything else, all the other blessings that he had to give me, all the other things that I prayed for, that was just gravy. That was just a bonus. But I had this mentality of entitlement because I was given so much growing up. My upbringing, I was privileged. And so now I know, and I've been working on the past couple months and years, how to be more humble, how to not go to God only when I need something, but go to him to show him love, to show him affection, and not just, God, I need this, God, I need that, I need these blessings. Like, no. We have to grow and evolve in our relationship with God as we realize these are the patterns that we have in our relationship with him. like any other relationship. We have to grow and learn and apply whatever it is to improve.
Amen. I'm 100% in agreement. I think you hit it on the head. It's the whole part of evolution. And our relationships have to evolve. As Christians, they should evolve. You know, and as Christians, we should thirst for that evolution to take place. It's just not easy. I mean, let's be frank and honest. Change is not easy, but change is essential in our lives. If we don't change, we will literally wither away and pass away. And I believe that this is a great stepping stone to remedy the issues that we see today in our relationships with our father or mother.
Yeah. And stagnance is the equivalent of becoming lukewarm. And God sees that as disgusting. He literally spits that out of his mouth. He says in the word that if something is lukewarm, it's like a disgusting taste in his mouth. And that's not what we're striving for. We're striving for change. We're striving for evolution. We're striving for difference, for improvement. So I want to encourage all of you to just reflect on your relationship with God and your relationship with your parents or your upbringing. How did your upbringing impact your relationship with God? How does your relationship or your attachment to your parents impact your relationship with God? And as you recognize the different things, the different patterns in your relationships, I encourage you to try to change, try to evolve, try to improve your relationship with God. Don't get stuck in the past, in the patterns of the past, but learn from those patterns and improve because of them. So that is all we have for you today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope to see you in the next episode.